Hey, what's up, Kevin Wesley? This is Paul. I'm gonna let you know who I am. I'm a secular hip hop artist by the name of Paul Masson. I made local news here in Memphis. Had an NBC article drafted up, among a lot of things about me. But what this is about what's considered woke and what's not considered woke. And in particular, I know we as black people, we've suffered a lot in the name of Christianity. I mean, we were raped, we were beaten. We were, thrown over ships and stuff like that. And just to take on this religion, the white man's version of Christianity. We also know of the good ship that they had called Jesus. And we also know that the letter J wasn't invented until the 1500s. But I want to break you down to something, and I just want you to listen real quick. Because, see, this is not a conversation that started a debate. This is simply a conversation to gain further information and enlightenment. As we know, the Babylonian Talmud was written around 1000 AD. So, the facts they present concerning Yeshua, that was his real name, of Nazareth, would appear untrustworthy at first glance. That is until we learn that the beliefs they held about Yeshua of Nazareth came from the work of Origen, who lived from 185 AD to around 253, 254 AD. His writings present the Bible story of Genesis or beginnings, as allegory in some respects. He presents the Christ which is distinct from really Yeshua in a way, as existing with God, co-eternally with God. He does, however, state that Christ incarnated himself, however, becoming a man in history called Yeshua of Nazareth, stating he was born of a virgin into a body like ours, that he was born and suffered in truth. It's important to note that this man said he suffered in truth, not merely in appearance, which is allegory, and truly died our common death. This is Origen's words. He truly died our common death. Here comes the part where there's creed involved in the creed part. Then he was truly raised from the dead, and after with the resurrection. Please understand, I'm not getting into the theology part of it. The point is, he understood that the man, Yeshua the Christ, walked the earth as we do now. Well, he is 200 years removed from these events, so what relevance does his opinion matter on it, you say? And what relevance does that have to do with the Babylonian Talmud, written in 1000 AD? Where Origen's writings were a 50 to 80-year response to the writings of someone named Celsus, considered a Greek philosopher and intellectual, who wrote a book called The True Doctrine, or The True Word, stating and declaring that he declared that he learned from certain Jews that Jesus' father was a Roman soldier named Panterai. Origen believed God was his father. Origen believed God was his father, and he did not believe that the other stuff. Celsus stated this of Jesus, though. Celsus' opinion was different. Celsus' opinion was different of Jesus than it was of Origen. And he lived 50 to 80 years before Origen. He says, so in essence, he believed Jesus' real father was a Roman soldier named Panterai. He stressed that Jesus or Mary fabricated the virgin birth, that he, being poor, hired himself out to work as a servant in Egypt, that he was a mystery school initiate who learned great powers from the return and then returned home highly elated because of those powers, and by means of those proclaimed himself God. Celsus claimed to have gotten this information from certain Jews. Whatever we make of their differing opinions between Celsus and Origen, as explained earlier, the key is that from at least 175 AD to 1000 AD, as Celsus stated, they haven't got the information from some Jews, that Jews obviously held the same opinion concerning Yeshua. So that means for 825 years, their views concerning the man named Yeshua has been the same as the earlier info, clearly matching the Talmudic info 825 years later. The same is true concerning their view of his mother, Mary, whom they claim she made a living by spinning or doing hair. She was turned out of doors by her husband, that is divorced, because she was accused of adultery. She then, according to them, gave birth to Yeshua as an illegitimate child. If their view was consistent 825 years, what makes us think they would be wrong concerning 142 years prior, with him being removed from him, as he died at around 8033. Concerning the fact that there was a man named Yeshua of Nazareth who was born under mysterious to scandalous circumstances. This man was connected to Egypt. He was poor, but he possessed extraordinary powers. And as well as he proclaimed himself God. Also told others, have you not read, you are gods, that the Godhead was within. Forever, so these are the things that the views hold in common. And this forever refutes the idea that Christianity was the white man's religion. It is said to have started in Africa by St. Mark as the first bishop around AD 43. I touched on St. Mark for a couple of reasons. Here is why. The apostles were commanded to go into the world teaching the words of Yeshua by Yeshua. Most people say the Gospels are not written by the apostles. My response is that it doesn't claim to be. And in those times, there were no reporters. The reporters of that time were called scribes, or they were writers. They would jot down the teachings of some, or interview people, giving their versions and accounts of what happened, of the events that happened, writing them down as the person said it, which is why most early accounts in any language say the gospel according to. Then it names the apostle. Essentially, the scribe is saying, this is not my account. This is Matthew's account, or this is Luke's account, for example. Well, the next thing most people say is that they contradict each other in their versions of events that happened during the life of Yeshua. Most people fail to understand that this is actually a good thing because it is clear that they were not in the same room in conspiracy, or that one person did not conjure up these accounts, whether it fits with the account that they were commanded. It fits with the account that they were commanded to go out into the world. In these lands, it is clear that their lives were in consistent danger for the teaching and beliefs they held. Touching again on the fact that Christianity was never a white man's religion, it is recorded in Acts 8:26-40 that Philip baptized an Ethiopian eunuch who was a court official of Queen Candace of Ethiopia. History dates this queen to be Amenetre, who ruled from AD 22 to AD 41, giving her 8 to 10 years left of rule after the time of Yeshua's death, placing the accounts where it should be during the years after Yeshua's murder subsequently. Again, refuting the fact that Christianity was given to us by the white man. Acts 13:1-2-3 teaches that in Antioch, prophets and teachers laid hands on Barnabas and Saul. Simeon, whose nickname was Niger, after a river in Africa, and Lucius of Cyrene, which is Libya. Cyrene is in Libya, performed the ordination ceremony on Paul, who himself was confused with being an Egyptian. Acts 21:37-39. Cyrene was a place in Libya, as I just stated. Simon, the man who kept carrying Yeshua's cross, was from Libya. 4 out of 5 women mentioned in Yeshua's genealogy in Matthew 1 had known African ancestry. Josephus himself reported that Yeshua had dark skin. I know you're saying, so what? It's simply literature, lies, and forgeries. Well, let's go back to the East Telpar tomb. The East Telpar tomb is said to have been a tomb constructed by someone with money. The Bible records that Joseph Arimathea, who had money, buried Yeshua. The tomb says Yeshua, son of Joseph, which matches the fact that his enemies and those who buried him